Y News with Angelo Castro III, William Theo, and Darlene Basingan.
Good evening. The Department of Health orders a stop in the implementation of the dengue immunization across the country. Likewise, the Food and Drug Authority also orders the revision of the information paper of the said vaccine. Here's why from Monokson.
The Department of Health or DOH orders all government hospitals and health centers across the country to halt the vaccination of dengue vaccine or the dengue immunization program. This is while DOH is waiting for the recommendation of the World Health Organization or WHO regarding the said vaccine. The DOH intensified its surveillance to monitor the possible effects of the said vaccine to children who receive it but without prior infection. The move came after the discovery that dengue vaccine should not be used to people who have not been infected with dengue. More than 700,000 people have been vaccinated with dengue vaccine last year. However, the DOH says only about 8 to 10% of the said number have no prior infection. According to the Health Department, dengue vaccine provides protection to children who have been infected with dengue, but health officials could not determine yet its possible effects to those who have no prior infection.
Yung severe disease ay hindi naman nangangahulugan lahat mangyayari yan, no? Ngunit aantayin pa rin natin ang pinakahuling ulat or update mula sa Sanofi at ang WHO.
For now, the DOH has 700,000 doses of dengue vaccine. Many of these will about to expire in May and August of next year. The Food and Drug Administration or FDA meanwhile orders the correction of the label and information on the pamphlet of the said vaccine.
That will change in their label. Yung laman ng kanila kung paano yung instructions, sino pwedeng gumamit, kailan pwedeng gamitin, at ang recommendation nila doon.
According to the former member of the dengue expert panel of the DOH, Dr. Anthony Leachon, there is a possibility that children without prior dengue infection who receive the vaccine might have dengue shock syndrome. There are no protection against infection for children who have not yet contracted the infection.
Kailangan meron ka muna exposure doon para magka-antibody ka, kaya pinapatesting. Kaya kung positive ka doon, ikaw bibigyan. Pag wala ka, hindi ka pwede pang bigyan. Kasi lumalabas yung dengue na bakuna na ibibigay sa iyo, yun ang una mong dengue infection.
Comedian Bentot Jr. has expressed dismay over the news since his child has been vaccinated with the said vaccine.
Sana naman maghinay-hinay kayo ng mga pagdidesisyon ninyo. Yan, kung gusto niyo kumita ng pera, wag naman ganyan. Kumita na lang kayo sa ibang bagay, wag yung pati mga bata dadamay ninyo. Yan, pag nagkaroon ng problema, sino ang habulin namin? DOH? Palpak kayo, isang damuka kayong palpak.
Jenny Manga is very worried after hearing the news about dengue vaccine since her child received vaccination just last September.
Paano kaya pagka naglabas uli sila ng ganong mga panglunas or bakuna, tapos hindi na maniwala yung mga nanay?
The Department of Health is hoping that the controversy will not affect their other immunization program. The DOH vows to do all it can to hold liable individuals responsible for the issue. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The bicameral body is likely to face a lengthy debate on some provisions of the Tax Reform Acceleration and Inclusion or TRAIN bill. Senate Committee on Ways and Means Chairperson Sunny Angara is hopeful that the two chambers will not end in a deadlock on their deliberations of the disagreeing provisions of the bill. Here's why from Nel Maribuhok.
The Bicameral Conference Committee has started its deliberation to finalize the Tax Reform Acceleration and Inclusion or TRAIN bill. According to Senate Committee on Ways and Means Chairperson Sunny Angara, the deliberation will not be easy.
I see long debates kasi ang dami nito eh. Sa totoo lang, it's a comprehensive tax reform. So di maiwasan talaga na may pagkakaiba ng pananaw.
House Minority Leader Danilo Suarez meanwhile says they remain firm in their position that a new tax regime is not necessary for now.
All of us here believe that custom and BIR is still inefficient. Kahit anong bagong batas mo na gawin, ganun pa rin.
Senator Angara is hopeful that their deliberations on some sensitive provisions of the bill will not end in deadlock, particularly on additional taxes that will definitely have direct effects, especially to poor families.
Medyo magkaiba yung version ng Senado at Kamara pagdating sa kotse, pagdating sa yung maasukal na inumin.
Between the two houses versions, the Senate version of automobile tax is simpler than the House version. Also, the Senate has lowered in its version the tax on sweetened beverages as compared to the House version, which is almost double the tax rate. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
Several coalition groups are in favor of increasing the taxes for coal. But the groups call on the government to not pass the burden to the public. Rajel Adora will tell us why.
At yan yung pinapangambahan natin na state of affairs ay ipapasa lamang ng mga kumpanya doon sa mga consumer yung kanilang buwis na binabayaran. Diba? Yan yung mali dyan. They privatize the profit while they socialize the burden.
This was the statement of environmental group San Lakas regarding the proposed increase in coal taxes. The group said they are in favor of the passage of a bill. However, they are hoping it will not be shouldered by the public via an increase in electricity prices. Meralco is one of the distribution companies that uses coal for supplying electricity. 30% of their supply comes from coal. However, they say they cannot avoid passing it on to consumers.
Ito completely pass-through charge. Consumers talaga ang maapektuhan dito. Dadaan lang ito sa amin at ito ay mapupunta sa, yung binabayad naman dito mapupunta sa mga generators at yung additional cost doon sa tax ay pupunta, buwis yan pupunta yan sa gobyerno.
Meralco explains there will be an additional of 5 centavos per kilowatt-hour once the bill passes into law. This means an ordinary household consuming 200 kilowatt monthly will have a 10 peso increase in electricity bill. Some Filipinos believe there is a need to save electricity when Meralco increases power rates. Like Ruben, who pays more than 1,000 pesos monthly for electricity consumption.
Pagbabawas ng panood ng TV, isang beses na lang mag-washing machine salve ng isang linggo, at saka yung mga Christmas light, magbawas ng Christmas light. Lahat ng may kaugnayan sa kuryente, talagang magbabawas.
Meanwhile, for Allen Saibolchan, who owns a computer shop, should the Meralco increases power rates, their charge for computer rentals will also increase.
25 2 hours. Bali ngayon, mawawala na yung 25 2 hours. Mangyayari 15 per hour na talaga.
Rajel Adora, UNTV News Rescue, Philippines.
Despite the benefits that the tax reform bill offers, some labor groups are worried over the possible employment cuts should the bill pass into law. Nel Maribuhok will tell us why.
Some sectors will surely benefit from the Package 1 of the tax reform bill. These include employees who earn not more than 250,000 pesos annually who will receive bigger take-home pay because of tax exemption. Some sectors, such as the sugar industry, is worried employment cuts because of the effects of some of the provisions of the bill. Despite the differences in the versions of the two chambers, the Trade Union Congress of the Philippines believes the labor sector will surely carry the effects of the additional taxes.
Masyado kasi mahal ang production cost ng cane sugar rather than corn sugar. And corn sugar is much sweeter than cane sugar. So they can easily buy corn sugar and abandon cane sugar.
TUCP also explained that because the cane sugar is more expensive than the imported high fructose corn syrup, the reform will bring huge impact to the sugar industry and eventually cut the number of jobs.
We just need time so that the sugar industry can adjust without too much adverse effect on the workers.
Based on the data of the Sugar Regulatory Administration, there are 62,000 sugar cane farmers in the country. The Senate, for its part, says they will not allow such repercussion to happen.
So our job is to lessen the impact, to adopt a tax that's fairer Remember, we're giving away 140 billion in income taxes, and we're taking back 280 billion gross from the public.
Currently, the Bicameral Conference Committee is finalizing the tax reform bill, which is expected to be implemented on January 1, 2018. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
Meanwhile, the Department of Transportation signs the Japanese government today a contract for the purchase of train coaches for LRT Line 1. Here's why from Rosalie Cos.
The Department of Transportation has signed with Mitsubishi Corporation today an agreement for the purchase of 120 train cars for the Light Rail Transit Line 1. The project is part of the 43.25 billion yen or around 19 billion pesos official development assistance loan by the Japanese government for the capacity enforcement of mass transit systems in Metro Manila project that aims to support the upgrade of transportation infrastructure in the country.
Government, or when government started its administration during the time of President Duterte, I saw one of the pending projects is this activity which we are doing now. And I said, no way I will delay this activity any further.
With this, the DOTR is expected to begin the LRT Line 1 South Extension project. Once completed, the new cars of LRT Line 1 can accommodate 1,388 passengers per train and more than double the number of running trains to 222.
We are now putting a trigger mechanism so that the status of congested traffic can be addressed and be addressed properly well.
The route of the LRT Line 1 South Extension begins from Baclaran in Parañaque City to Bacoor City in the province of Cavite. It is expected to accommodate 500,000 to 800,000 passengers. The first batch of the trains will be delivered on the 21st of October of 2020, while the second batch will be delivered in December of 2020. The DOTR meanwhile assures that the coaches that will be delivered for the project are of good quality.
We're going to have our kick-off meeting with the project team of Mitsubishi and CAF. At isa dun sa mga unang bagay na itatanong namin sa kanila ay ano ba yung mga punto sa production process, kung kailan dapat nandun tayo, sino yung dapat na nandun, ano yung mga kailangan bantayan. Yan yung mga bagay na gagawin natin upang masigurado na tugma yung i-deliver sa atin sa 2020 at 2021.
The LRT Line 1 project will use Japanese technology and is expected to help lessen air pollution in Metro Manila. JICA is confident that this is a good start for long-term partnership between Japan and the Philippines in terms of improving mass transport system in the country.
And I'm very much sure that the contract parties are able to deliver the tangible result as agreed in the contract and as soon as possible, and will be able to serve the needs of the country. And I'm more than sure that users of this particular project will be able to maintain and operate in a sustainable manner so that we can ensure the high quality service provided by this all the parties involved in this project will be sustained in the future for the long term.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
In other news, the Joint Quick Response Team of the government is already prepared to aid passengers who might be affected by the two-day transport strike initiated by Piston on December 4 and 5. According to the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority and the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board, government vehicles, buses, and trucks will be positioned in strategic points around Metro Manila starting at 4 in the morning on Monday to assist stranded passengers. The LTFRB is not recommending the suspension of classes on Monday and Tuesday since they are convinced the transport strike will not seriously affect the passengers.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, says the strict implementation of the motorcycle lane and yellow lane policies along EDSA yielded positive results. Asher Cadapan Jr. will tell us why.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority announces a drop in the number of road accidents since the strict implementation of the motorcycle and yellow lane policies. Aside from this, the agency claims that the travel time along the stretch of EDSA became faster as well. Based on the data of the agency, from the previous 55 to 57 accidents a day, the number dropped to 12.
Konti lang yung nire-rescue natin, so konti lang din yung delay. Alam naman natin pag may na-aksidenteng rider, hindi natin yan matatayo kaagad, hindi natin masasakay sa ambulansya. That will cause traffic, 20 to 30 minutes response time. So sa motorcycle lane, we believe nag-improve kami ron.
Aside from this, the MMDA says the travel time of buses became faster as well. If before, buses ply EDSA for 2 hours, the MMDA claims their travel time has been reduced to 45 to 60 minutes.
Sa yellow lane naman, ano bang objective? Gawing fast lane para sa mga pampublikong sasakyan, and 90% ng dumadaan sa EDSA, drivers only.
The agency replaces it with MMDA officers holding placards to remind motorists that private vehicles are not allowed to use the yellow lane. The strict enforcement of the yellow lane policy also gained positive reactions from bus drivers themselves.
Mas maganda sa ngayon kasi mas mabilis-bilis kaysa doon sa dati. Kasi noon sa dati, pati private, nandun po eh. Ngayon po, pag bus lane, puro bus lang.
Yellow lane, para sa bus talaga. Mas maganda yung ganun. Mas maluwag. Oo. Yan, karamihan sinasabi ng mga kotse na balasubas ng mga bus driver. Hindi naman sila itong harang ng harang talaga sa amin.
The MMDA continues to coordinate with the Metro Manila Council for the implementation of the proposed volume reduction programs that aim to decongest traffic along EDSA. These volume reduction programs include a twice-a-week enforcement of the number coding scheme and odd-even scheme. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The app-based ride-hailing company Grab Philippines advises its passengers to expect difficulty in booking of rides and longer waiting time for the arrival of vehicles this holiday season. Joanano will tell us why.
Mall sales and visits to various promenades. These are the common scenario expected this upcoming holiday season. Also expected is the inevitable heavy traffic flow in major roads. Because of this, the management of the app-based ride-hailing company Grab Philippines advises its customers to expect difficulty in booking rides and longer delays in waiting for their vehicles, especially during peak hours.
Minsan wala talagang kotse. So, mag-book sila, wala. So they may have to adjust their travel schedules a bit. Peak hours is going to be very difficult. Longer waiting times would come into the picture also because of the traffic situation.
Based on the record of Grab, the previous 30-minute average travel time has rose to 45 minutes because of traffic congestion. The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA meanwhile admits the problem on traffic is worsening, noting it is due to the increasing number of vehicles on roads. Adding to this is the growing number of Transport Network Vehicle Service or TNVS.
Meron tayong 77 traffic choke points sa Metro Manila rather. Hindi ka talaga yan. Then yung carrying capacity ng EDSA, alam naman nila nag-increase na yan from 6,000 per lane per hour per direction. 6,000, 6,800 na 6 months ago, pero ngayon turning to be 7,500. Bakit? Dahil sa car sales.
Grab advises their passengers to better plan their trips ahead to avoid being late in their schedules, especially this holiday season. And because the demand this holiday season is expected to increase, the ride-hailing company also tells its customers to expect higher rates as well. The cap in the surge pricing of transport network companies remains ×2 based on the regulations set by the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board or LTFRB. This means that if the rate for the travel from Ortigas to Makati reaches 194 pesos, it may reach up to 350 pesos due to surge pricing. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Makati City.
Next on Y News. Chinese businessman indicted in the billion-peso shabu smuggling case barred from leaving for China rather.
The Department of Science and Technology encourages Filipino scientists to return and practice in the Philippines.
And the Department of Health reports alarming increase in the number of HIV-AIDS infection in the country, which has started affecting minors.
Y News will be right back. The Bureau of Immigration has barred Chinese businessman Chen Julong, alias Richard Tan, from leaving the country for China. Chen is one of the accused in the 6.4 billion peso shabu smuggling case. Roderick Mendoza will tell us why.
The Bureau of Immigration has foiled the attempt of Chinese businessman Chen Julong, alias Richard Tan, to leave the country. Chen is one of the accused in the 6.4 billion peso drug smuggling case. He owns Hongfei Logistics, the shipper of the 600-kilo shabu shipment smuggled into the country last May. Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre confirms that Chen was trying to depart from Clark International Airport to Pudong, China via China Eastern Air flight number MU5046 at 3 in the morning yesterday. But he was stopped by immigration officials and advised to first get a clearance from the Department of Justice. Chen was placed under Immigration Lookout Bulletin last August while undergoing preliminary investigation.
Mayroong findings na siya'y probable cause against him. Pinasa elbow pa rin siya. Kaya every time he leaves, dapat meron siyang allowed departure order.
Last November 22, Chen and 8 others were indicted by the DOJ for drug smuggling before the Valenzuela Regional Trial Court. But his lawyer filed a motion asking the court to dismiss the case, saying it should have been filed with the Manila RTC.
Basically, we're questioning the jurisdiction of the court and saying that if you do not have jurisdiction, then you do not have power to issue the warrant of arrest.
For now, the court cannot issue an arrest order against Chen until his motion is resolved. The DOJ was given 10 days to submit their comment or opposition. Roderick Mendoza, UNTV, News and Rescue, Manila.
Cops will not be allowed to join in operations without wearing their body cameras. This will be the PNP's policy once policemen are reinstated in the government's war on drugs. Here's why from Leia Ilagan.
Hindi ako nagmamakaawa sa mga local chief executive na please, tulungan niyo kami makabili ng body camera para transparent yung operasyon.
This has been the call of Philippine National Police or PNP Chief General De La Rosa to mayors to provide body cameras to PNP drug operation units under their jurisdiction. The PNP chief says they have no capability to purchase the said equipment for now as they can receive their funds next year. This is why the mayor of Pasig City responded to the call of the PNP and gave 48 body cameras to the Pasig Police. For now, Pasig City cops would use the said equipment during checkpoint inspections and Oplan Galugad operations until the president decides to bring the police back to the government drugs war. Congressman Rufy Biazon initially noted that the PNP should purchase good quality body camera so it could be used as evidence in court. In response, National Capital Region Police Office or NCRPO Chief Police Director Oscar Albayalde notes they are planning to purchase real-time body cameras which would allow them to monitor police operations at their headquarters.
I think yung mas maganda dyan, yung talagang real-time nga siya, yung pwede mong i-access through internet. Parang yung mga CCTV. No? Kung anong nakikita ng ating kapulisan on the ground, nakikita mo dun sa opisina mo. You don't need to go out. Makikita mo yun dun sa Tactical Operation Center mo. Yun ang maganda at yun ang actually ipoprocure ng Philippine National Police.
The moment anti-drug enforcement units receive body cameras, the PNP Chief De La Rosa says he will require the operatives to wear body cameras during their operations.
Gagawa tayo ng polisiya na bawal mag-conduct ng operations na walang body camera. Kung hindi, administratively liable ka. Para wala tayong tatago. Dahil wala naman talaga tayong tinatago. Totoo naman talaga na may lumalaban at may namamatay.
Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue Camp Crame.
Personnel of the PNP Drug Enforcement Group undergo 1-month training ahead of future missions. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
The Philippine National Police Drug Enforcement Group or PDEG is now preparing for its return to the war on drugs scene. This is why the personnel of the PNP DEG undergo 160 hours of training within a month. They study, among others, tactical action, legal matters, intelligence and investigation to avoid facing charges or dismissal due to technicalities. 40 of the PNP DEG personnel, all part of the first batch, finished the training today. According to PNP DEG Director Police Chief Superintendent Joseph Adnol, the second batch is composed of 45 personnel who will also begin their training today. The third batch, meanwhile, is composed of 50 personnel.
Ang emphasis po natin talaga is yung sa investigation. No? Kasi doon lagi ang problema, especially doon sa sinasabing chain of custody of pieces of evidence. May mga masiselan na procedure doon na pag hindi nasunod ng investigador natin, wala po, madidismiss yung kaso sa prosecutor pa lang, madidismiss. So yun ang isang tinignan natin.
He also says the personnel of PDEG are ready for their possible return to the war on drugs.
Bago pa naman inalis yung mandate, especially yung pag-initiate ng operation, the PDEG was always and has been prepared for the work. Although for today, we really want to make it more better.
PNP Chief Police Director General Ronald Bato de la Rosa, meanwhile, confirms that the President will bring the police back to the government's war on drugs.
Anytime, lalabas yung executive order ng Presidente reinstating the PNP back to the war on drugs.
However, the PNP chief reminds the police who might be part of the anti-drug operations to conduct it properly. He compared to driving, saying it should be on full speed with extreme caution and that they will not tolerate any official of the government.
Full speed with extreme caution, and ako, being the driver at full speed, alam nyo na, dapat defensive driving yung gagawin ko. Defensive driving para to avoid disgrasya. Iwasan natin yung mga humps, iwasan natin yung mga lubak, iwasan natin yung mga barricades, para yung ating dinadriver na sasakyan ay walang gas-gas. Walang gas-gas at mga pasahero safe makakarating sa ating destination.
It can be noted the PNP was removed from the war on drugs scene due to several alleged irregularities which left several civilians, including minors, killed. Ray Pelayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Philippines.
1 out of every 5 prisoners in the country could be freed under the Uniform Manual on Time Allowances in Service of Sentence. Justice Undersecretary Reynante Orseo says the BJMP and Bureau of Corrections will now use a single system in giving good conduct time allowance. This means the sentence of a prisoner will be reduced if he behaved well, faithfully complied with prison rules, and have shown diligence to reform himself while in detention or serving his sentence. Orseo also said some prisoners, if ever convicted, would have already served the sentence. A prisoner or his relative may coordinate with the warden or the Bucor director to determine whether he is already eligible for a good conduct time allowance.
The BJMP will now automatically file a motion to the local court for the release of the inmates because he has already served this sentence even before the final conviction.
Task Force Bangon Marawi Chief and Housing SAR Eduardo Del Rosario supports the extension of martial law while rehabilitation efforts in Marawi City continues. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
Though he is letting the Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Philippine National Police recommend whether to extend or not the martial law in Mindanao, Task Force Bangon Marawi and Housing and Urban Development Coordinating Council Chairperson Eduardo Del Rosario supports its extension. This is to ensure safety and security while conducting the initial recovery and rehabilitation efforts in Marawi City. This is in connection with intelligence reports that indicated massive recruitments of ISIS-inspired terrorist groups around Lake Lanao and other parts of Mindanao after Marawi siege. These groups reportedly offer up to 100,000 pesos.
My main concern is the security of the whole rehabilitation effort. Just imagine if something will happen in Marawi City during the rehabilitation phase.
1st District Lanao del Sur Assemblyman Sia Alonto Adyong also supports this view.
I think the necessity of maintaining martial law dictates that kailangan talaga dahil may pockets of recruitment pa nangyayari dyan surrounding the lake.
The deadline of the declaration of martial law is on December 31, and President Rodrigo Duterte has already said he will be basing his decision to extend or not martial law on the recommendations of the military and police. Meanwhile, the government has launched the Task Force Bangon Marawi website to give latest updates on the rehabilitation efforts in Marawi City. In the future, reports featuring local and international donations will also be incorporated. Once the post-conflict needs assessments is accomplished, the Task Force Bangon Marawi is targeting to present a detailed and comprehensive reconstruction and rehabilitation plan for the whole Marawi City in March 2018. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
Meanwhile, the Department of Science and Technology, or DOST, has gathered returning Filipino scientists in a whole-day convention today. Here's why from Ray Pelayo.
The Department of Science and Technology acknowledges the vital role of Filipino scientists in the country's various sectors and economy. Among them is Dr. Divina Amalin, an expert in terminating pests and one of those who discovered the predators of the pest coco lizard that destroyed thousands of coconut trees in the country. She worked in the University of Florida and in the U.S. Agriculture Department but decided to return to the Philippines in 2010 to practice in her home country and also for family reasons. Amalin says the government will definitely save funds through the Balik Scientist program.
Hindi na mag-spend ng more funding to generate technology, because yung scientists abroad, Filipino scientists abroad has already gained knowledge on technology that Philippines can adapt and can be modified.
Engineer Leo Almasan, meanwhile, served as a U.S. naval officer and was assigned in the Naval Warfare Center in San Diego, USA.
The uniqueness really is the expertise. We know and we already know what's going to go wrong. So you don't want to duplicate or reinvent the wheel because we already know what's going to happen.
The OST Secretary Fortunato de la Peña said around 569 Filipinos responded to their Balik Scientist program. However, only 187 preferred to stay in the country. He said that the Philippines' ranking has now improved in terms of numbers of scientists, though it still needs to increase.
If you talk of the global competitiveness index, where there are about 137 countries enlisted, we are somewhere in the 56th rank. The global innovation index, the number 73 rank now is an improvement from the 90th rank in 2013.
De La Peña added that foreign investors are not so interested to venture in the country's science and technology services due to the scarcity of experts. De La Peña says the budget department needs to create additional positions to accommodate more scientists.
Kung scholarships, bibigay sila. Pampatayo ng building, bibigay sila. Pero yung pag mag-create ka ng bagong positions for researchers and scientists, napakahirap.
Ray Pelayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Pasay City.
New vaccine trials are fueling hopes for better ways to protect against the virus that causes AIDS. The United Nations, meanwhile, reports significant reduction in the number of infected individuals around the world. Dulce Alarcon will tell us why.
On occasion of the World AIDS Day, UNAIDS has released a new report showing that for the first time, more than half of all people living with HIV now have access to HIV treatment, and AIDS-related deaths have almost halved since 2005. The region showing the most progress is Eastern and Southern Africa, which has been most affected by HIV and which accounts for more than half of all people living with HIV. Researchers announced the launch of 2 big studies in Africa on Thursday to test a new HIV vaccine and a long-acting injectable drug, fueling hopes for better ways to protect against the virus that causes AIDS. Some 37 million individuals around the world currently have HIV, and around 1.8 million became newly infected last year. in China, up to now, has more than 718,000 people living with HIV and AIDS. 67,751 people are newly infected in the first half of 2017. An expert said thousands in China are living with HIV, but they don't know they're infected.
我们的防治工作的话呢，仍然很艰巨。那么据估计的话呢，这个全国仍有20万到40万的感染者还没有被诊断发现，所以扩大检测是经济部推荐艾滋病防治工作当中最为关键，也是比较难的。
China's AIDS epidemic maintains stable, and the number of newly reported cases of HIV-infected people and AIDS patients in 2017 increased slightly compared with the same period last year, mainly due to the further expansion of HIV testing. Dulce Alarcon, UNTV News and Rescue, Anhui, China.
The Department of Health is alarmed with the increasing number of HIV-AIDS cases in the country. Here's why from Monokson.
The Department of Health, or DOH, expresses concern over the possibility that the number of people living with human immunodeficiency virus, or HIV, in the Philippines will rocket to 142,000 by the year 2022 and 313,000 by 2030. DOH Undersecretary Gerardo Bayugo says there is a continuous increase in the number of HIV cases.
Mababa pa yung ating number in terms of absolute number compared with our neighbors, but the rate of increase is the one that is alarming.
This year, about 31 HIV cases are recorded every day, compared to 26 cases every day in 2016. Based on the records of the Health Department, from January 1984 to August 2017, about 46,985 Filipinos are infected with HIV. 84% of the recorded new HIV cases are cases of individuals who had sexual intercourse with the same gender and transgender women who had a sexual intercourse with men. The young population is not spared from the risk of HIV, as 2 in 3 estimated new infections are from 15 to 24 years old. DOH Secretary Francisco Duque III, meanwhile, emphasizes there are 51 DOH-designated treatment facilities ready to give treatment for people living with HIV.
Paigtingin pa rin natin na lahat ng ating mga programa, lalong-lalo na yung surveillance, no? At tingin ko hindi lang dapat limitado ang surveillance doon sa mga high-risk groups. Kung hindi, mas palawakin pa natin.
The DOH designated treatment facilities offer antiretroviral drugs for free. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Up on Y News. A new Japanese era is expected as the government's special panel sets Japanese Emperor Akihito's abdication on April 2019.
The Philippine Blood Center gives the highest award to members Church of God International.
And the micro artist known as Turkey's Michelangelo tells Istanbul's tale on miniature objects.
More from Y News after this break.
The Philippine Blood Center gives the highest award to members Church of God International in the Dugong Bayani Awards 2017. Leslie Lomboan will tell us why.
1 pint of blood can save up to 3 lives. That's why the Philippine Blood Center believes volunteer blood donors can be considered heroes. And to recognize these heroes, PBC holds Dugong Bayani Awards yearly.
The total number is 6,264 for 2017. This award goes to the Members Church of God International.
This 2017 MCGI again receives the Jose Rizal Award. This is the highest award PBC gives to organizations and agencies that donate more than 2,000 blood units. Since October last year, MCGI recorded the most number of donated blood units with a total of 6,264.
Ipinagpapasalamat natin ng maraming sa Panginoong Diyos dahil sa loob po ng 6 na taong sunod-sunod ay sa awa tulong ng Panginoon ay nakukuha po ng members Church of God International ang pinakamataas na gawad pagkilala para sa mga nagdo-donate ng dugo sa Philippine Blood Center. Kaya ito po ay ating malaking kaligayahan sapagkat alam natin nagbubunga yung pagpapagal ng ating mga mangangaral, si Brother Eli Soriano at si Kuya Daniel Rason, na hikayatin ang bawat kapatid sa pagsasama-sama na magkaroon ng diwa ng pag-abot o pagmamahal sa kapwa-tao sa pamamagitan ng pagbibigay ng dugo na napakahalaga lalo na sa ating panahon.
These blood units are from MCGI blood donors in Metro Manila, Cavite, Rizal, and some parts of Bulacan, Pampanga, and Laguna. These are apart from the blood donations from different parts of the country. The Philippine Blood Center, meanwhile, thanks the organization for its tireless support.
Halos nung nagsimula kami, kasama na namin sila sa aming journey towards 100% voluntary blood donation. Ito ang pinaka-essence ng ating programa na gusto natin na lahat ng dugo na isasalin sa ating mga pasyente ay galing sa volunteer donors. At ang tingin ko, nakuha na natin ito, na-attain na natin at napakalaking tulong ng inyong organization.
MCGI has already received awards from different blood centers and organizations because of its regular blood drives not only in the Philippines but also around the world. MCGI is the primary partner of UNTV in all its public services. Leslie Longbowen, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Those are the reasons behind the news, December 1, 2017. Emmanuel Castro III.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am William Theo.
And I'm Darlene Basingan, because we need to know.
We will always ask why. Thank you for watching
Why News.